How's it, grade 12s? So today we're going to be starting finance, and the first thing that I'm going to go through with you is advanced timelines. Now, you guys already started finance with the core, and the only difference between the core and this is the questions are basically like on steroids. So there's a lot more going on, okay? But essentially the core of it is the same, all right? The only difference is like your payments are going to be changing the whole time. So you'll have multiple deposits or multiple withdrawals. Also, another thing that happens with these AP questions is your interest rate changes all the time, okay, for different periods and stuff like that. But if you draw a timeline up for these things, you're going to get it, okay? How they ask these questions is they give you a whole long story about blah, 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 fish paste, a whole lot of stuff, okay? Draw the timeline, extract the information from the paragraph, put it down on the timeline, and you'll be able to answer it, okay? And that's the only thing about these finance questions is it's a long story about a whole lot of stuff, okay? Like, I really don't care what the story is. I just want to get the numbers and work out the maths with it, okay? So going through what I'll also do is I'll upload the notes for you guys, and I will upload the lesson notes for you so you guys have them there. So you can follow, I'll upload these soon, so you can follow from the notes and read along with me. So I'll just read it out for you guys now. For example 1, it's saying Sean opens a savings account and deposits 5,000 Rand into the account immediately. So T0, 1, 2. Okay, so these are my different time periods, and we are initially depositing, or Sean is initially depositing 5,000 Rand. Okay, it then goes on to say immediately 5 months later he invests a further X Rand into the account. So 5 months later, which is over here, he will deposit some amount. Okay, 3 months later, so 1, 2, 3 over here, 3 months later he deposits 2x. All right, the interest rate for the first 4 months, so up to here, is 18%. So for the first 4 months, we have an 18% per annum compounded monthly interest rate. Okay, then it goes on to say 21% per annum compound monthly for the next 2 months. So for the next 2 months would be up to 6. So from here to here, we have a 21% per annum compounded monthly interest rate. Then it goes on to say, and 24% per annum compounded monthly for the remaining 2 months. So from here to here, we have a 24% per annum compounded monthly interest rate. Okay. The investment has a future value of 100,000 Rand. So right at the end here, he will get out 100,000 Rand at the end of the 8th month. Calculate the value of the final payment at the end of the 8th month. So as you can see, it is a lot more involved than what your normal core maths type questions will be. As you can see, you're getting multiple deposits. Also, deposits will change. They're not always the same. And you have multiple interest rates throughout the question. Okay, so how do we answer such a question? So first of all, I know at the end of this investment, we are going to get 100,000 Rand. Okay, now guys, don't worry about any future value or present value formulas right now. Okay, we haven't gotten there yet. All right, so Let's have a look at this very first deposit here. There's 5,000. Now this 5,000 is going to get interest for this period, then it's going to get interest for that period, and then it's going to get interest for that period over there. So that's what I'm going to look at first. And because it's an investment, it's going to be a compound formula that we're using, okay? So for this period here, this 18% period over there, what I want to do is I just want to convert these into their monthly interest. So I'm going to divide each one of these by 12, and you guys can see how I'm going to do that over here. I'm going to say 18 over 100 divided by 12, and I'm going to get something. Here I'm going to say 21 over 100 divided by 12, and then I'll do the 24 over 100 divided by 12. Okay, so let's do this first one over here. 18 over 100 divided by 12, and we're getting 3 over 200. Likewise for this one, 21 over 100 divided by 12, 7 over 400, and then for the last one, 24. 1 over 50. Okay, so I'm going to be using the compound formula. If you guys don't know it, it's A is equal to P, 1 plus I to the power of N. Okay, so we're going to get here 1 plus, for this time period here, the interest is 3 over 200. And how many time periods are we doing this? 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's raised to the power of 4. Now, whatever this amount is will be over here after that interest has happened. Now that amount is going to change its interest to this over here. So now I'm going to multiply that by another interest of 7 over 400, which is this 21%, and we are doing it for 2 time periods. Okay, so now whatever that interest is going to be over here at this amount here, at this time period here. And now I'm going to multiply by another interest, which is 1 over 50. And now that is gone for 2 time periods. So that's our 5,000 Rand. It's gone through 3 different interest rates, and there they are over there. Okay. The next thing I'm going to look at is our X. Okay, so this whole thing plus, now X is going to go through 2 different interest rates. So the first one will be X1 plus, because we are doing it over here, we're going to get this interest rate, which is 7 over 400. Now be very careful here, grade 12s. It is only going 1 time period for that, because this is where we're depositing. So it's only 1 time period. Then it comes to this point, and now it's going through this interest rate over here. So that's 1 plus 1 over 50. And this has gone through 2 time periods. Okay. Then this 2x right at the end doesn't get any interest because it's right at the end of this scenario. So there is no interest for it. And that is where the advanced part comes in. So just make sure you know how to do that. Then what I'm going to do, and I'm going to do this very quickly, grade 12s, I'm going to say 100,000 minus this, get an answer. I'm going to take out a common factor of x here, and I'm going to take whatever answer I got there divided by whatever this is with that common factor. Okay, and we will get that x is equal to 30,825 Rand and 75 cents. Okay, so now I know what my payment is there. But the question was, calculate the value of the final payment. So the final payment is 2x. Okay, so therefore, final payment will be equal to 2 times 30,825 and 75 cents, and we get a final payment of 61,651 Rand and 50 cents. Okay, so essentially not too bad if you draw the timeline. All right, looking at example 2. Okay, example 2 is saying Felix takes out a loan of 350,000 Rand. So over here, he takes out a loan of 350,000 Rand. I just want to put my time steps in here. And then T7. Okay. Takes out a loan of 350,000 in order to start his business. He repays 150,000 2 years later. So 2 years later, over here, he pays back 150. And guys, I just want to make a note here and just say that this is a, let's call it a minus, okay? Because there he's taken out a loan, but there he's paying back the loan, all right? Then it goes on to say 4 years after taking out the loan, he expands his business and borrows a further 560,000 Rand. So 4 years later, which is over here, he's taken out a further 560,000 Rand. Okay, and I'm going to make it a plus because it's a loan, all right? He pays off his total debt by means of a payment of X Rand 3 years later. So over here, X Rand, and I'm going to make that a minus because he's paying it back. Okay. And then it goes on to say the interest rate is 18% per annum compounded monthly. Calculate X. So throughout this whole thing, we have an interest rate of 18% per annum compounded monthly. And we want to find out what is our final amount there. Okay, so before I start, I just want to calculate what this is. So it's 18 over 100 divided by 12, and we get 3 over 200. Okay, so now we have our interest. Now, what I'm going to do, just like I did with the previous one, I'm going to put loans on the one side and payments on the other side. So first of all, we've got this loan of 350,000 Rand. And that is going to get interest, okay? So it's going to be 1 plus, again, guys, I'm using the compound formula. Okay, we know that our entire interest rate for this whole thing is 3 over 200. Now, what is our N going to be? Well, this is per month, and it's going for 7 years. So this is going to be 7 times 12, and that is the interest on the loan amount, okay? But this guy takes out a further loan, so we've got to add on to this whole thing, and it's 560,000. And the interest earned on this is still 3 over 200. And he is going for 1, 2, 3 years, okay? So it's 3 times 12 to get that into years, into months, okay? So that is the loan amount and the interest added onto the loan amount. Now what I want to have a look at is I want to have a look at the payment part. So this whole loan amount with the interest must be equal to, now over here he pays it back. So it's 150, 1, 2, 3. I'm not going to put in the negative because think of it like this. If I had it on this side, it would be a negative and the whole thing would be equal to 0. Why? Because you're taking out the payment or the loan and you're making payments, so the whole thing would be equal to 0. So what I've done is just the loan must be equal to the payment. Now this 150,000 will also get interest because you paid it in, and that's how the banks work. You put something in and it'll get interest. So it'll be 1 plus 3 over 200. And that's going for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years times by 12 to put it into months. And then we've got this final payment right at the end, plus X. That gets no interest. Okay. Grade 12, simple. Just put this in the calculator, plus this in the calculator, minus this bit, and you're just left with X is equal to 1,813,041 Rand and 51 cents. Okay, guys. So what I would like you to do is exercise 1 for me, please. Thank you.